I personally didn't start coming up here till I met Jane 20 years ago, being raised in Big Stone. But since then, with Jane, I've fallen in love with this mountain. I mean, it's every day I come up here. I don't care if you go to the rock garden or walk down to the reservoir or go to the rec lake, you see something new and different every time. It's always something fascinating up here that just, it's mind blowing. Jane and I went to the rock garden the other day, and honestly, I think we saw underneath one rock is a petrified tree.
Ooh, tell me where the rock garden is.
Okay, when you turn the corner right there where the reservoir is, when you go on up in a set of curves, and if you look up on top of the hill to your left, you can just see a bunch of rocks. But there's a pull-off spot right there. Then right on past that, there's a road. And you can park in that road and then walk across and go up there. And have you ever been to the channels?
No, I haven't.
The rock garden's kind of a miniature channels. It's just big boulders sitting up there on top of the mountain that I still think they were put there by the Ice Age. That's the only way a rock got on top of that mountain.
Well, actually, you can see remnants of a fire. You know, you can see the burn marks on the rock.
Yeah.
So I know that they use
little pebbles in there. I mean, it's just, like I said, every time you look at that, anywhere in there, when you walk through a crevice or anything you do, it's mind-blowing to me.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the Ice Age, because one of the reasons this place is so special, and second only to the Amazon forest with biodiversity, is because it survived the Ice Age. It was just like a protected little area, and it's very unique. This whole mountain is very unique. It's the wettest place. It's the wettest spot in the whole state of Virginia.
We have
more rainfall.
We have more snowfall.
Yeah.
I know of more snowfall in place.
Well, when Princess Flats, the whole downtown area was actually considered a swamp. So, I mean, they've had to do a lot of drainage, a lot of ditching and such to create what they have done.
Yeah.
That's why the main road was across the mountain, all the way down through Davenport Trail, and dropped down there off Davenport Trail. So they neglected even to go down into Princess Flats because of the swampy area until they started draining it and making the towns. Same thing was with the gas station in Coburn. They'd done the same thing there. They neglected that because of
if you go up on the High Knob Observation Tower, there's some old apple trees up there. And I just wonder if that was a homestead at one point in time, because why else would they be there?
Well, you think about it, the High Knob Recreation Area, as far as the lake and the dam, it actually supplied water to 40 different families that lived on top of the mountain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, the history in this area is just so diverse, and it's just a lot of things that people have forgotten, and that's one thing that we really want to bring back is just the memories.
Yeah.
And people think that the Hotel Norton, which is coming up the mountain that we all knew when we were growing up, that they thought that was the hotel, but there's another hotel, Davenport Trail, in that area. That was a community sit out there with schools and all. Same way out on out into the Osborne Ridge side of the mountain. They were a community out there with little schools and things out in that area. So.
Well, one really kind of neat tidbit there is that John Fox Jr., the night before he died, he was at that motel, and it was raining, and from my understanding, he, I guess, caught pneumonia, and he died the next day.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Was that the High Chaparral?
No. It was actually, I guess, the High Knob Motel.
That was the one going up the High Knob, not the one on Davenport right now.
Okay. That must have been before my time. I like it.
Well, since, like Debbie said, since our average age is, what, 51?
But you know,
I'll take it.
Something about all of us we have a draw to this mountain. That's what's drawn us together as a committee.
Yeah.
We all look at this mountain. We all have our thoughts and our hearts are here, and our background is something in it about this mountain. So even the festivals that started the early '70s. Down at the festival grounds,
People's Music Camp Fair or whatever it was called. Yeah.
I was there. Mini Woodstock in
Yes.
'72.
Yeah.
How many of you were at that?
I was
We
there.
happen to have that name here.
We put a
I was there.
we put a sign up on a tree, called it the ego tree, and as you come in the gate, we told everybody to hang their ego on that on that tree, but somebody with ego
Love
stole
that.
the sign, so.
Yeah.
Aw.
But now what it was called was the Appalachian People's Old Timey Folk Rock Camp Meeting. So,
Okay.
and that was between 1970 and 1972.
It
So
was.
they had a lot of people have shared good memories from that
Yeah.
festival.
Yeah,
Yes,
what I can remember, it was a good time.
It's like the same spirit of this festival, I think, that we're trying to make this into. And you know, if this will be our 5th year of having the High Knob Music Festival, and 5 years ago there was some danger of that park being closed, the High Knob Recreation Area, and I feel like we've been instrumental in keeping that from happening, and the community's come out in droves to support that cause. So that's what it takes, is a community coming together and having a great festival and a great time.
Well, one we want
Loving
to
that
actually,
place.
yeah, one we want to acknowledge is Teddy Huff with the Boy Scouts. Teddy Huff and the Boy Scouts have done wonders for the recreation area as far as what they've cleaned up, the Eagle Scout projects that they've done. So I tell you again, everybody that has put forth some type of effort to save that park, be it the Clinch Coalition, the Naturalist Rally, the High Knob Music Festival, the Boy Scouts, and we all have the same goal in mind.
Yep.
What
was it
fascinated
about?
me is I talked to so many people in the past 2 years that if it hadn't been for the festival, they wouldn't have come back up there. And they told me, said, you know, I haven't been up here in 20 years. I had forgotten how beautiful it is up here. I'd forgotten what was here.
Yeah.
And we've drawn them back, so they're like, okay, I'm going to come back next weekend and picnic and enjoy the lake. And
Trail.
it's just
Yeah.
very
Was it-
encouraging knowing what we're doing.
It was about 5 years ago when you guys started doing the festival, they were gonna close this thing down, right? They were
Yes.
gonna let it grow
There was
up
a
and-
thread.
Yeah, it was a threat, and I remember talking to the Forest Service. This has been over 10 years ago, and saying we can't let this happen. You know, let's have a music festival, and so I don't know. Dreams are born from seed, I guess. But
And still today, we just received a letter last week from the Forest Service telling what bad economic shape that the Forest Service is in right now. They really can't afford to fix a water leak in the bathroom at the High Knob Recreation Area, and our group is going to try to take that on as a project and fix that water leak. The Pine Mountain Trail, they're closing at least 2 different portions of the trail. I think they're closing Cave Springs Park this year.
temporarily.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm speaking temporary,
Hopefully that'll change,
but
yeah.
that's what we're looking at right now. And there's probably about 8 different sites that they're having to limit services or close down parks and so forth. And that's what we are trying to prevent with the High Knob Music Festival happening to the High Knob Recreation Area. It's a beautiful venue, and I honestly feel that if we continue to draw people up there with this festival, that we can keep the park open. We're drawing people in this year. The Forest Service really couldn't afford to even waive the $3 parking fee because they need that $3. And if we bring in, say, 600 cars during the festival, that's $1,800
For the Forest Service. Yeah.
that will go to the Forest Service, and that doesn't sound like much money to most people, but to the Forest Service right now, that's money for upkeep. And we're more motivated than ever to try to keep the park open and to keep presenting a free music festival to this whole region.
That's right.
And
Well,
thi-
I like that too, because what's one thing that's really impressive about everything that's going on is it's not just a city entity or a town entity. We're actually looking at it being a regional effort. We want to we've reached across the mountain to Dungannon.
Today, we're talking to Deborah Horn at Dungannon. She was talking about how regional this really was, and how we have to look at it as a regional concept. And also talking to St. Paul manager today, and he's talking about the exact same thing. We got to get off our thinking that this is what we have here as a town or what we have as a city, but what do we have as a region? and as a region, we put all this together, and it helps all towns,
right.
all
Absolutely.
communities,
Sure.
all people.
And
We
now
have to make
didn't
ourselves stronger.
Deborah Horn and the town of Dungannon give money
Yeah,
to us?
Deborah Horn.
They donated money
they
to the festival?
Donated to
That's
the festival
awesome.
this year, so
Yeah.
that's great. If we can get, hopefully we can get other towns and other communities to look at it the
To
same
look
way.
at it the same way.
Isn't it true that the High Knob Recreation Area is really as close or closer to Scott County than it is Wise County? How far is it, if you're right there where you turn into the High Knob Recreation Area to go down in there, how far is it to the Scott County line from there?
Well, if you're walking from the lake down, back to going down to the back road, like
Mountain Fork,
Mountain
toward
Fork
Mountain
Road,
Fork.
that's Scott County is just a short walk. But on out the road from the top of the mountain, it's
Where it
just
goes around.
it's just right out the road a little bit. It is much closer to the Scott County line than it is anywhere around Norton.
So we really look forward to drawing Scott County and their people into this. I know when we were at the High Knob Tower grand opening ceremony just a very few short years ago, several members of the Dungannon Town Council, Scott County, I guess Scott County Board of Supervisors were there for the dedication of the tower. So they're really interested and invested in what we're trying to do.
You know, another interesting thing, you said the tower. Do you know that the Secretary of Agriculture came to Southwest Virginia on top of High Knob at the tower, and he dedicated the Jefferson National Forest in 1937.
Wow.
I don't think I did know that.
I didn't know that.
But
That is
again, there's
Well, there's history.
Oh yes, there is. Well, you think about it, the park was established and opened. They had the ribbon cutting on July 1st in 1940, and in that first year they had 35,000 people that traveled up on that mountain. And 1940s, that's right smack dab in the middle of the Depression.
Yeah.
And that was the most state-of-the-art park that had been developed in Southwest Virginia, or actually in this whole region.
Yeah. How many people again?
35,000 people.
I
But
can't
I've got
imagine it.
I've got another stat that's even more impressive. On July 31st, 1942, a one-day record attendance
Yeah.
was 4,500 people.
Wow.
Now, you can imagine, cars weren't, people had to get up on that mountain the best way they could.
It was a gravel road then,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
so I'm sure horses.
It's a hard
walking,
drive now.
Yeah, but again, that's back in the day whenever they didn't go to the lake or they didn't go to the beach. They had the mountain, and that's why so many people have established so many precious memories, and and people that don't even live here anymore. Whenever they come back, they want to share those memories. And again, that's what we want to do, is we want to share these memories and
Absolutely.
create new ones.
Oh, I love the stories. I would encourage anybody to even get up, tell a story at the festival, because
I think that's a good,
You know,
maybe a good addition to our festival,
I do too.
storytelling.
I encourage it. Especially people who may have come from far to home to reminisce and want to say something.
I know a lot of us here have actually went to school, came here, we brought up here, then went off to school, went off to work.
Sure.
We come back and then we'll see what we really missed, see what we really went off and left, and come back and enjoy it better now. I did.
Yeah, myself included.
Well, hey, talking about the music festival, what date is it?
June 16th.
June 16th.
Well-
Starts officially at 12 o'clock and should end somewhere by 8:30 if the weather permits and everything goes on schedule.
You have the band schedule?
Yeah, sure do.
I can tell you the headliner, Whiskey Gentry.
Whiskey Gentry, I hear you.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And right before them, I believe, is Adam Gray Dillon, Hillbilly Soul.
Yep.
Then,
Well, first,
and right before him is Young Mister.
Well,
Is
you
that
already remember
correct?
this, did you?
And then right before that is 49 Winchester. And starting off the festival is Tyler Hughes and Sam Gleaves.
Local people.
Yes.
and what's really
Yeah.
kind of neat about it is we've got a very diverse, as far as it's, country, indie, folk, traditional music. So, it's going to fit everybody's, taste as far as music.
And Whiskey Gentry is going to rock the mountain.
Oh,
They-
they're going
there's
to make
no
the
doubt
mountain
about
sing,
that.
right?
She has the most angelic voice, and I cannot wait to hear that voice echo in the valley at the recreation area. And if you remember, whenever Dave Edgar, in our first year, whenever he played, there were some people that were at the tower, and they actually said they heard the music come up the
Wafting up
mountain,
the mountain.
and then they heard it up there, and they said it was absolutely awesome.
even our finale that we were all doing,
Oh,
knocking
yeah.
on heaven's door. There's people at the towers going, they were sitting there listening to it. And it's, I thought it was phenomenal. But
Hey, you could park at the tower and walk down to the festival down the trail.
Yeah, it's about a mile walk.
It's a 1 mile walk, yeah. Or I think,
Or hitch a ride with
yeah,
Mountain Empire.
we've also got a shuttle service going on the day of the festival.
Yeah.
You can park at the Girl Scout camp, which is before you get to the park there, and catch a shuttle, take you right down to the amphitheater.
is that the only designated parking areas besides the parking lot itself? Or do we have other, the shuttle's gonna run from other areas?
As far as designated, yes.
As far as the designated, if we have overflow,
The-
we might, but
We may have to back down to the reservoir. There's a huge parking area there. It probably would be a dream come true if we had that many people on the mountain that we had to go down to the reservoir with the MLC transport van
Right.
and pick up people there, because that would mean that we are full on top of the mountain.
yeah.
Well, we filled
And
up
so-
last year as far as cars, but you know, they come in and out.
Yes.
They come in and out, but at one time the parking lot was full. And so that was,
Well, I hope everybody comes because it seems to get bigger every year,
Well, this-
and that's great.
I
That's
think
what we
this year is
want.
gonna be the year we're gonna push over the limit here this year. This is gonna be good.
I'm
I think
ready
it's gonna
for
be
it.
great.
Yeah, we have all the lineup, we have the people scheduled, so. Then what about security or parking area? We have the parking service gonna do that this year?
Well, A&A Services up in Wise, that's JD and Sam Adams. They're going to be providing not really security. They're going to be doing. They're going to be in charge of parking and direction, and that's going to free the committee members up to really, take care of the festival itself. But we are going to have people up there. We are going to have the sheriff's department. David Ford with the National Forest is going to be there. Rescue squad is going to be there. So we've got emergency services on hand in case anything happens. But we haven't had the first incident in any of the times we've had the festival. So we've been blessed and thankful.
That's good.
We
And
might be doing
did
sandwich
we mention that the festival is free? Did we mention that?
Where can you get that kind of entertainment in
We-
such a setting? But,
Hey.
yeah.
We're committed to providing a free all-day festival for families. In this region, half the people in this region are impoverished. And our commitment is to bring a free festival. People can bring their family, just the whole family. You can pack a picnic lunch if you want to, bologna sandwiches and water or whatever you want if you don't want to buy food. But we had a big demand for some sort of food items at the festival year before last, and that's what kind of got us into this. So many people kept saying, do you have any food for sale or water or anything? And we didn't. That year it was a non-commercial event, and our application with the Forest Service didn't allow us to transfer any money. All the musicians played for free. All of us volunteered our services all day and all night, as well as several days beforehand,
As we still do.
as we still are. But this
And still are.
commitment, we are absolutely committed to keeping this free for the whole region. And we're paying out, this year we're paying out good money for musicians, but year before last, the musicians volunteered their time and their talent. And that softened my heart. I thought, and we had good music. Dave Egar
Dave Egar
was
played
there,
for free.
and he's
Man.
he's playing in New York and overseas and all over the place. He's world famous, and he was up there for free to help us out, and I will never forget that.
Me neither. Me neither. I
But-
hope he can come back someday and play.
But
And
we
this
felt-
time we can pay him.
We're working really hard to make money with our fundraisers, and we need people to buy these meals, which all this money goes into our account to pay the musicians and pay for all the expenses that we have to put the festival on. So the only way we can do it is if we make money on our fundraising.
Is there a number that someone could call that if they want to do, if they do want to donate, they can call maybe a number and donate here?
Well, if it's money involved, absolutely, give me a call.
Be hard, 549.
You can call me if you got money.
679-1530. Give me a
Mine's
call.
Okay.
679.
What about the phone contact information if you want to buy a ticket to the wonderful Fox House dinner fundraiser?
That would be me. Contact me at 276-275-9080. And
who are
pay
you
at the door.
again?
I'm Debbie Mullins.
The Fox House girl.
I'm the food lady out there.
That food lady, okay.
You know, I guess we need to probably go around and let's introduce ourselves to
That's not a bad
whoever.
That ain't a bad
else.
idea. We might have should have done that first, but we ain't never
Start
been
over there,
right.
Pat.
Well, I've had the easiest job of all here tonight. I showed up 5 minutes ago, and you all have covered most everything I think that the public needs to hear. But I want to amplify what Buddy was talking about last year's festival. What a sight it was! And I mean, we had people on blankets, picnics on the ground, and the facility. By the way, which is one of the main reasons we are in this volunteer project, is because High Knob is so valuable and has done so much for us. If ever there were some kind of facility or project that deserved volunteers, it's High Knob Mountain. And we're all so fortunate to be together and working toward that goal. But you have benches up there in the amphitheater, you have people on benches, people on the blankets, kids playing, doing everything under the sun, not a frown on a face, and even a Sasquatch sighting. He was up there.
Yes.
And
I hope
the
Sasquatch
kids
I
loved
hope he
it.
shows up again this
The
year.
kids loved.
Yeah.
Sasquatch was a great hit,
Absolutely.
and the place was packed. And
But wasn't it the Wood Booger?
It was the
the
Or
Wood
is he,
Booger.
was his cousin? It's a
But I
Same
prefer
thing.
Sasquatch.
Same thing.
And here's the most important thing: out of all of the festivals and happy people, the weather was beautiful. And Noah, with his connections, has guaranteed good weather again on June the 16th.
Wow.
Get my heart floating.
But
Talking to the man up above.
High Knob is deserving of the public paying attention to this and contributing and using it and appreciating it. And let's keep this project going and make the recreation area better and better, because it needs some help. We realize that, and we're going to keep this going and make it a better place.
And this is Mr. Pat Klein.
Sorry I talked so long.
Chris?
professional.
I'm Debbie Mullins, and along with what Pat said about the recreation area, you can come up and camp too. So if you're worried about coming down off the mountain after the festival, just go out to the recreation area, pitch a tent, and spend the evening and just enjoy the beautiful sight. It's wonderful up there.
Absolutely.
I'm Gordon Sant. Like everybody said, this is a special place to all of us. One of the things you might do when you're up there enjoying the music is enjoy the lake. Come down and sit on the beach. If it's warm enough and you don't mind cold water, take a swim. You'll still be able to hear the music down there while you're enjoying the beach and the water. So come enjoy it and have a good time.
I'm his better half, James Long.
Slam dunk.
Absolutely.
Easy.
I would only echo what everyone else has said, but something we haven't touched on is, for me, is not only how good it's been to work and try to enhance the recreation area, is what friendships that we've formed getting together in this committee, and what a real joy and a blessing it is to be able to work together on this. So that's one of the things I think really sticks out in my mind is friendship and community, and what a wonderful place it is to live.
Gosh, that's hard to talk, girl. Shoot. Yeah, but I thank you, Jane, and man, that's true. We have developed a friendship, and I think that's really cool. I know me and Buddy play music together, and it's been our dream to have this happen for a long time. And we went up and played music on that stage up there one day about 5 years ago, and that's where all this kind of rooted from. And people got interest in supporting this cause, and it's just great. I hope it goes on forever and long after I'm gone. I want to see people carry it on.
Yes. Well, hey, I'm Chris Jones. I'm the shy one in the group.
Extremely
Can't get a word out.
Chris, we're looking at the time.
But again, you know, we've been talking about memories, and some of the most precious memories that I have. I remember whenever I was, I guess, it had to have been 3 or 4 years old, and I remember playing in the sand and playing with the salamanders, and remembering how cold that water was at the High Knob Recreation Lake.
and looking out at the swimming platform and being that young and that small and thinking that platform was, gosh, a quarter mile out there on that lake. And now you go up and look at it and you can just about throw a rock out there where it was. So it's amazing how things look bigger whenever you're younger.
Yes.
But I mean, church groups that have shared, memories up there and had events up there, CB jamborees. I remember camping up at the group camping spot in the campground, and Alan Salyers from Wise, and it had to be 9 o'clock at night. It was dark. It was by campfire, and he sat there and he painted a picture for my dad, and that was passed on to me. And I think that's one of my most precious possessions that my dad had. But just great memories as far as up on that mountain, and just we want to create more.
I'm Noah Thacker. Like all of us here, we all have ties to the mountain and have ties to the lake and have memories of being up there as a child and camping up there and going down and catching the salamanders and soon to swim out to the platform as kids. That was a great feat for all of us to do. And then I came back after being gone so many years and actually a resident of the High Knob now, live on Osborne Ridge, which I could see Sam's Gap from my kitchen window or from my living room window. So now I get up in the morning, you can see all the fog and all the changes of the weather, and you ride around the mountain and go to the lake. And last year, the lake, the festival, the sounds just amazed me how it just echoed through there. Not only people say they could hear it from the tower, but it just echoed into that valley. It just it was magical. And not only did we feel it as sitting there listening to it and as putting it on, we could see children dancing and things that
And old people dancing.
And old
I
people
love
dancing. It just brought back the things of the past. I think people just ditched their cares and started just having a good time. And that's what it's all about, bring people back up there to have a good time. I think that's what we're doing. I think that's what all of us are trying to do. Buddy?
My name's Buddy Delp. When I retired just a few years ago, the two things I wanted to do was promote more venues for music in the area, because as a musician I realized there's very few places to play in this region. We've got a few more now, such as Lay's Hardware, Appalachia Cultural Arts Center, the Southwest Virginia Museum, and the Lee Theater and Pennington Gap.
Country
Cabin, Pound.
Country Cabin. So we're making progress in the region, but we're nowhere near where we need to be. So what I set about to try to do was to create more music venues and promote music, especially trying to get the young kids involved in music and bring them along. But as far as the festival itself goes, just like Jane said, we were just going to do a practice one day, and we decided we'd go to High Knob Recreation Area on the little amphitheater stage and practice there. And we got there and there was nobody there. And so we did we're practicing, and the cane post came down.
We drew a crowd.
Yeah, the cane post came down and said, "What are y'all doing?" We thought they were going to run us off. We were in National Forest after all. But they said, no, we want you to play. We just want to know, can we go through the campground and get other people to come listen? And so right then, well, we had talked about it before. Right then, we decided that we would start a music festival. And it started out very meager, but it has grown to now we have a budget. We're bringing musicians from several different states. I mean, we have a good budget.
And we worked
Georgia,
we worked for every bit of it.
Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia, somewhere in North Carolina, young mister.
Asheville, North Carolina.
We're,
Hillbilly Souls from Bristol.
Tyler and Sam are from Big Stone Gap area.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where some of the others come from. But
Sam
we've got
is from
musicians
Whitville.
coming from several different states now, and through some very diligent fundraising, we're able to compensate them, which is another thing I wanted to do. In this region, it's hard for musicians to make money. Jane and I play for free most of the time.
So do we.
We're retired, and so we donate our time and energy to try to promote music in the region. But as far as the High Knob Music Festival goes, We worked really hard all day, but everyone has a grin on their face. We're having so much fun creating something that beautiful. And toward the evening, it's like a love fest. We've been doing this for several years now, never have seen any trouble, no accidents. It's just incredible. Never been rained out on High Knob, which is almost unbelievable. We shouldn't push that, right? Because we'll have another.
Gonna build an ark.
here.
But the one thing I remember was after the I guess it was festival year before last. Someone said to Chris, they said, "Chris, I saw you 3 days after the festival, and you still had that grin on your face." He was so happy, and all of us were actually. It really was almost like an old-fashioned love fest. Everybody loved each other, and we had so much fun doing it. And it's all to promote the National Park System, and specifically the High Knob Recreation Area and this mountain in general.
Local music.
But what was really kind of
And
neat about that,
musicians.
Buddy, was that we put that first festival together in 6 weeks.
We did.
With
And we
no
had-
money.
And
With
how
no
many,
money.
and
With
how
no
many bands?
money.
We had,
That's
what, 6
right.
bands?
Yeah.
We had 6 bands, no money.
And
And-
500 people or
Yeah,
600
we had
people.
600 people up on that mountain the first time, and it was just a huge success.
You know,
I mean, so
for some reason, I want to say we had 8 bands. We had 2 or 3 30-minute slots.
And we-
I know we went into
may
the
have.
dark hours of the night.
Yeah.
But it's
How
just
many
been,
people did we have last year after starting out with
I think somebody said, I thought we counted somewhere close to 1,200, but that may not be a,
So we,
It's around
It's an
1,000,
estimate.
something
yeah,
like
it's an
that.
estimate. But this year, I really think that we're going to break the 2,000 mark easy.
you know,
That's great.
another memory that my dad told me that was really, really special to the people in this area, especially where this park was the first one that was built in this region, and it was such a special, a unique moment for this region. But one of the unique things is the sand at the beach. They actually transported the sand from Virginia Beach, brought it to Southwest Virginia in the Southwest Virginia mountains, and that was always just a source of pride for all the local people.
Was that in the 30s?
It was in the 30s. So you can
Wow.
imagine the adversity as far as bringing that sand from Virginia Beach. You know, my story is a lot better. You know, they had Afton Mountain and the adversities as far as bringing that much sand. And, you know, once they got here in Norton, they looked up on the mountain and was like, oh my gosh, yeah, how are we going to get up there? But that was, you know, that was a very special thing for the citizens in Southwest Virginia at that time. And I remember my dad told me that that in the Coalfield Progress, there was a gentleman that was quoted that we need not look any further for this region's prosperity than the mountain. And it's kind of sad it took 75 years to achieve what, you know, what that person had a vision. And basically what they had a vision 75 years ago is our vision. And that's what we want to try to build on.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, even my mom has memories of coming up to that lake and that park as a little girl. And when the roads were all dirt.
Since,
Well, Jane, your dad was a lifeguard up there, wasn't
in 1942.
Wow.
1942.
It'd been there for
He'd
about 5 years then.
Every day he would hitchhike, and he and his friend, and then they would have to get a ride home.
Well, that's when they had all the traffic coming up down the mountain,
Yeah.
going to the lake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, that was back in the day when people would pick up someone.
Yes.
hitchhiking.
Weren't afraid to do it. Yeah.
It was not uncommon. Most of the towns, because I remember where Norton's thumbing post was. I remember where the thumbing post in Big Stone Gap was, because and these were just local names, but that's where you went to thumb. You know, there was certain places. Norton was right there where Pepsi Cola bottling is now, right there in that little dip on the side of that corner. Big Stone was coming out of Big Stone going towards the southern section on 610. Right there on the right, there was a telephone pole and a white spot.
where Derek
And-
Light is now.
Yeah, yeah, where the dirty light
Yep.
is.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
right there on the
you
road.
can't ever forget the hitchhiking to Ramsey. There were what's the Dairy Queen is there now.
Yeah.
And right there, they have 3 spots there, and all 3 spots that after school would be lined up, people going home hitchhiking home from school.
Hey, that was the only place that had Tutti Frutti ice cream in the whole world. I remember that when I was a kid.
Wow, that's
great.
a memory from.
Yeah.
You can't find that anymore.
That's right up there with Cab's Donuts, man.
Oh, gosh.
And
Well, I would
were
like to
so
say
good.
something about the past festivals that we've had, is when the festival's over and we go around and clean up, there's not enough trash hardly to fill a coffee can. And I think that says a lot about
Yes.
how much the people respect the mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't pick up cigarette butts, we don't pick up cups, paper. It takes maybe 5 minutes just to walk through and see if somebody accidentally dropped something.
That's
Because that's
great.
the only litter we find is if they drop it accidentally. And I wish more people would respect the mountain
Absolutely.
with that thought in mind, just driving up and down the mountain. There's trash cans, use them.
or bring a
Amen.
trash bag.
And we're gonna
put it in
have
your car.
recycling bins and lots of
Yes.
trash cans, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you.
And
Well,
that is a
it's-
mission that is just understood amongst us. Don't litter.
don't we?
If you bring it
That's
in,
This
simple.
mountain
take it out.
clean.
Yeah,
It's, we need to, we're getting it clean, we need to keep it clean.
Keep
Absolutely.
your mountain clean. It's
And if you-
Yeah,
if
your,
it's
it's your
it's
mountain.
everybody's mountain.
if
It's,
you pack it in full, you can pack it out empty, right?
That's exactly
That's
right.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
take
Amen.
only memories and leave only footprints.
that's right.
Well, we've
That's
seen a lot of the needs that are at the recreation area. Because, you know, but we've seen a lot of needs up the recreation area. Nora, what are we planning on doing as far as our vision, as far as trying to improve the park?
Or looking at, well, putting up a new stage. I think that is something
Yes.
that would be a definitely improvement and for all the entertainers. Because I know playing myself, if the stage is big enough, you can move around. You could actually put on, if you're just standing there and playing, it's one thing, but if you can put on the show, it's good for the crowd. So the bigger the stage, the better the stage, the better the electric. We talk about
And
it.
now, didn't that stage have a back and a roof on it?
At one time it
At one
did.
time.
A storm took that
So we
off.
want to do that too,
We want to
right?
put the roof and the
Yeah.
back, more of a back part on it. We want to improve the electrical systems and try to get the electrical down there. Also the handicap. I mean, we talked about the handicap
Yes.
and
That's
and
one of the more
That's
important
big.
things I think we're trying to do.
put a handicap area there so that they can wheel the chairs up and sit right there and have plenty of room and to move around and maybe some of the benches in the amphitheater, change some of that. We have we've done a lot of improvements last year when we cut a lot of that out and made the theater bigger.
Yeah, we had 260 volunteer people hours up on the mountain, and we cleared, goodness, we doubled the size of the seating area for the festival, and that actually, it's just not for the festival, it's for weddings, it's for the scouts, it's for any type of program that anybody would like to do up there.
High Knob
But-
Naturalist Rally.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Naturalist Rally. So, I mean, yeah, that was one of what we wanted to do.
And we had fun working. The
did.
camaraderie,
Yeah.
working with a group of good people like this, the camaraderie, you're dragging a limb up and loading it on a trailer or something, or dragging it out into the woods to feed the woods. We just had a lot of fun.
Hey, and last time now, Gordon fixed us breakfast
Oh,
Oh,
before
yeah.
we went up to work, man. He fixes a mean pork tenderloin, I'm
Well,
telling
they
you.
won't let me fix gravy. I don't know.
It was
no,
an
it can't be
exciting
fixed
morning,
gravy.
It
wasn't
was
it?
exciting.
It was good. We do like to eat.
Pat had something?
Oh, I was going to mention, Buddy was talking about, and you also, Chris, about the recreation area. I don't know if you've said enough about the rich history and how it came to be. We had a Great Depression going on. And President Roosevelt enacted the Civilian Conservation Corps. And this recreation area was built by men from all over the country. And they had cabins up there, they lived there. And in fact, there was a CC camp down in Norton. I don't know if y'all remember that. And I don't know what all was at that facility, but as I grew up, it was called the Civilian Conservation Corps.
Yes.
And it was over where the apartments are now, Lost Creek, is that the name of it? And there was so much sand. You talked about sand, Chris, coming from Virginia Beach and being trucked up to the Knob. There was so much leftover sand that everyone in Norton knew if you needed sand, go over to we called it the CC camp. And they would take it and they would bring it up. And it was take your pickup truck over there and
Just
shovel
load it up.
a load into your pickup truck, and it was free. And that sand was still there in the early 70s. So it was such a major project, and that's just a small footnote memory of mine about why we have High Knob, and even the remnants of the High Knob recreation area were still down in Norton in the 70s. Easy picking.
CCC built the trail at Roaring Branch between Big Stone Gap and Appalachia. If you've never hiked that, I know we're talking about High Knob right at the moment, but that is a beautiful place to go. It's tranquil. It's just magical to go up in there. And the CCC built all of that. Beautiful rockwork steps and so forth, all the way up the mountain. So they were doing a lot of projects. There was a CCC camp in Big Stone Gap too, not far from Union High School, where Union High School is now.
And they
many
did the
years ago.
Roaring Branch Trail too, didn't they, down there?
Yeah,
Yeah, is that what you
that's what he
said?
was talking about.
Beautiful trail, beautiful.
And that's just a couple of things that they did. I know they did a lot of other projects too.
A lot of the masonry walls, retaining walls, were actually crafted by Italian stone crafters. So you see that, remnants of that all around town also.
Beautiful rock.
But they had, goodness gracious, they had automotive garage, they had woodworking shops, they had masonry shops, and basically, I mean, they had everything on site to do just about any type of work in this area that they need to do.
Did they do the rock work where the tower, the observation tower is now?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe they did.
Because that's some beautiful rock work there.
Yes.
If you've ever been up to the High Knob Observation Tower, in the parking area, beautiful rock work.
Yeah. Give a shout out to who was responsible for the new tower, which is Knob
High
Enhancement
Knob
Group.
Enhancement
Absolutely,
Corporation.
and actually, we're a part of that group.
Absolutely.
Yes, High Knob Enhancement Corporation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We want to say thank you to them, because goodness gracious, I mean, you know,
Without them.
without them, we couldn't do what we've been
It'd be
doing.
very difficult.
Yes.
Right. We also
Absolutely.
had like the Clinch Coalition came up and helped us do some stuff in the park to get ready for the festival, and they do all kinds of trail work. You know, there's
And
people
for
that are
people that
working
don't know,
on it.
there's 5 states that we can see from the tower.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Virginia, of course, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and was it?
Is it Georgia?
No,
or-
West
West
Virginia.
Virginia.
West Virginia. That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And to speak of your view at your residence, when we had a gathering last year, we sat on Noah's back porch. and watched-
Post-party party.
Well, I call it a Tri-Cities Airport party. We watched
Party.
planes take off and land at Tri-Cities Airport
Wow.
from Noah's back porch.
Osborne
Yeah,
Ridge.
it's a
Y'all
little,
wouldn't let me come to that.
I think you had a fishing trip.
Yeah.
You know, the 3-day event, or the 1-day event, but it's a 2-day to get over.
Takes us 3 days to do it.
We missed you, buddy.
You know, one neat thing about whenever we did the clearing up there at the recreation area, and again, we had help from the Boy Scouts, we had help from the Clinch Coalition, the High Knob Music Festival. There was a couple people there from Coburn that were helping load up the hardwood, and they were recycling the hardwood as far as, you know, for the fireplaces and such. But as we had cleared off this whole area, and we'd worked really hard for 3 or 4 hours, and I guess that's about all we can. That's about all, that's our
This
time limit,
average
3 or 4
age of
hours.
50.
Average age of 51. We did good for doing that.
I think we figured that was average age of 60. didn't we?
Yeah, actually it's 60. But what was really neat is that we wanted to, you know, remember this momentous moment. So all of us that were there, we kind of posed. We had a first row, they sat down, and the second
is
row
funny.
was back, and we were going to take a picture. And we didn't really realize it until the very end, and we turned around, and right there on the water fountain was a bottle of Aleve. Yeah. So here, you know, we worked hard, and, you know, I guess we were hurt.
Chris, let me tell you, we had several of those days when we cleared branches and so
Oh,
forth.
yes.
And I remember my first visit to the High Knob just as a volunteer with the big volunteer group. And there was snow on the ground, and the girls, Jane and Jane, were carrying big bundles of debris and refuse and so forth. And I kept hearing this 2-cycle motor running up in the parking lot, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know Buddy, but Buddy finally came down there to pose with the group photograph, he said, "This is the best day of work I've ever had. I love this leaf blower." And he walked the entire parking lot.
I'm sorry I didn't put that job up for
Over
bidding.
and over, and he had the biggest smile on his face. He said, "This is fun."
I was no trouble. I just had to come back and get gas a couple of times.
Yeah,
It's like, leave me alone.
but I would keep saying, "Debbie, don't lift that. Jane, don't lift that. Jane, don't lift that." And the girls were doing all the hard labor, and I hadn't seen Noah in 20
love him
years.
for it.
And I went down there. I kept seeing, who's that lumberjack down there in the bottom cutting all that wood? Well, it was Noah, and I hadn't seen Noah in forever.
I went to sleep behind the tree.
Yeah. So for me, it was a reunion,
It was.
and I've loved every minute of it since.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing is we have fun, even when we work very hard on this volunteer project that we're into, and I think it always will be that way. Jane mentioned it a moment ago. I hope that when we can't do this any longer, that the High Knob Music Festival will continue. And we talked last night, as a matter of fact, about a way to bring some more people in to help with volunteer work.
Exactly.
Because we do have a lot of fun. And we're talking about starting, well, I think we already committed to starting a Friends of High Knob Music Festival. And we've got people who want to come and just come with us and help us clear, help us work on trails or whatever we happen to be working on, and come and help with the festival. And that's pretty neat that we still have people coming wanting to volunteer and be a part of such a wonderful project.
We're definitely looking for some grant writers too.
Well, and we want to continue to remember that the only way we can keep this a free festival is to fundraise. And a lot of our fundraising is much more fun than what anyone else would think. Even like fixing trays and taking the meals out, we laugh and talk.
Eat the leftovers.
We had the fundraiser at the Holiday Inn just a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. The fundraiser at the Holiday Inn is 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago
This weekend. At any rate, so thank you to the Holiday Inn, and thank you to Ernie for coming and filming and helping us with that. Thank you to Quinn Bowling for stepping up and giving us the facility, no cost, helping with the food preparation and all that. But we worked really hard at that, but it was fun. You know, we got together and we played a lot of music.
And that's where we have our meetings every week.
Yeah, that's where we have our meetings, and they've been so gracious and supportive, and we just really appreciate that. But that's how we will keep the festival going, is these fundraisers.
Hey, and you know, all that's on Facebook too.
Oh, really?
If you check out High Knob Music Festival on Facebook, you can pretty much find all this information.
You can even donate there.
In case you forget.
Don't we have a donating site there on Facebook?
We still have a GoFundMe.
Funding
Yeah,
site?
we have a GoFundMe page, yeah.
I don't know if you all have mentioned, but while we're thanking people, last year the quality of the music was superb.
It was.
And Chris, you may want to express some of that gratitude right now on the TV show. Name some of the groups that were playing last year, because they gave us a very friendly price tag to
I want to throw one out right here.
Noah.
The band Up Yonder,
Yeah.
Yes.
Noah Thacker and Mike Hughes. Man, they kicked things off last year and did an incredible job. Go ahead. I just wanted to make sure this is my music buddy right here, so I wanted to cover him.
When I was up in the parking lot loafing, and I heard at one point, is that the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band down there?
But it was Up Yonder.
And then a little bit later, it was Led Zeppelin. That was Jimmy Page playing the guitar down there. I swear. So, I mean, and then they played their own written music. We had a variety of music, but the quality was excellent.
Yeah.
And I think those folks need to know we appreciate that.
Well, everybody that has participated in the past couple of years, we surely do appreciate what they've done for us and what they've done for the region. As far as providing music and such, it's just phenomenal.
So can we remember who played? I know Hello October.
Hello October was our headliner,
That's
and
right.
they played for a gratuity.
Ron Short played.
Ron
We-
Short and Possum
yeah.
played in
Ron
this
is a
place.
legend in this area.
Everyone played for a
Appalachian
gratuity.
Soul.
We didn't have very much money
And
like
who-
that.
Appalachian Soul.
Who was the one out of Johnson City?
JV squad.
JV squad.
And Randy Stanley started
Thomas-
us off with bagpipes.
Right.
Thomas Castle,
Played
Thomas
the year
Castle
before
and
that.
Peyton
What's
Mitton.
Peyton's last name?
And Peyton.
Not Manning.
Kendrick.
Hayden Kendrick.
Patron Kendrick.
That'll draw a crowd.
And you know something else? On last 2 weeks ago, when we played at the Holiday Inn, we were fretting over getting the band together. You know, it was just Mike and I talking about getting some things together. We actually had about like 3 days of practice and pulled you and Buddy and some people out of Kentucky and even Quinn Bowling from the manager of the hotel there, and pulled everybody together as a group in 2 or 3 days practice and pulled it off.
Yeah, we did.
And it was
didn't we?
amazing.
really
So
did
had
great.
fun
It was
doing
good.
it too.
You really did pull it off, and I've never seen Buddy have so much fun playing the guitar. I mean, he had that thing in the air over his shoulder. And he was doing such a good
spirit in it.
job. The people eating the wings and drinking the beer got up and they danced in front of Buddy, and they would mimic Buddy when he would start moving this guitar around.
You got to put some spirit in it.
Oh, we had
If you don't love it, you're doing the wrong thing.
But again, without our valued sponsors, I tell you what, we couldn't do what we're doing. Again, Holiday Inn, they are absolutely just one of our dedicated sponsors.
Great partner.
Mountain Rose Vineyard. We had a murder mystery fundraiser
was
out there
fun.
at Suzanne Lawson. You couldn't have asked for a more gracious host. And Pat Klein is the one that said, "And you're guilty."
We believe it was the bunny.
That was the bunny.
Spokesman.
But the pressure
committee,
was on.
the
pressure
committee
was on.
rendered the verdict.
But again, that Ernie Binko, I tell you, Ernie's been just a fantastic sponsor for the music festival, and has never asked us anything. And I don't know if we've actually expressed our gratitude for what Ernie does as far as
right.
trying to get
Well,
the
if
word
we
out.
haven't, let us say in unison.
Hey,
Thank you.
And listen, I watch Ernie's TV program on Channel 19 regularly because that's how I keep up with what's going on. I watch the Board of Supervisors meetings. I watch different bands playing in different places. The educational things that you have filmed and from the college and different places. So that's how I keep up with what's going on locally.
Whenever I go and I have something I need to discuss with Ernie, and you have maybe 10 minutes, and 30 minutes later you walk out going,
I didn't say
man, I'm just really truly educated, because Ernie is just, I mean, just a whiz. History on all points.
Talk about the history of Southwest Virginia or the mountainous area, the regional area.
Even into Kentucky, the Giants of Kentucky, which, this one's related to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's,
The giant of Letcher County.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That was
I
my
mean-
great uncle.
So again, Ernie, as far as what he does, it's just fantastic. Mike Ball is another one that I want to say something about.
Thomas
Mike Ball,
Kennedy.
Southwest
Oh,
Tool
wow.
Rental,
What a-
Inflatable Connection.
Wise Lumber.
Wise
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I tell you,
Crutchfield, Norton Community, all the people, the
Old
businesses.
Dominion
that-
Power.
Yeah,
Old Dominion Power,
Old Dominion
thank you.
absolutely is coming on board with us this year, and we want to give a great
Sykes.
big shout out to Old Dominion Power.
Yeah.
Sykes out in Wise, Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company. Thank you. I mean, again, we want to say thank you to everybody that's
right.
put
That's
forth
exactly
any
right.
type of, as far as effort, as far as for our what we've been trying to do.
Jack McClanahan
No, Jack Mack.
brought those cans up and come and got them. Thank you, Jack.
Oh
Is it,
gosh, yes.
Greg Cross, is he?
No, it's Jack Mack is who we
Jack.
dealt with, but Greg Cross does a fantastic job with Wise County as far as what he does
Yeah.
for keeping Wise County clean.
a lot
both
of work.
Oh gosh, yes. And
It's a
again,
thankless job.
And then Jane and Gordon are just
Wow.
dedicated as far as cleaning up the mountain and making sure that, what we can see, we want the people that we're trying to attract here to see. What we see is just the beauty of the mountain.
Appreciate
And
it
don't
so
forget
much.
Flag Rock.
Oh.
We are sitting at Flag Rock, which
Yes.
is maintained by the
Oh,
city
yeah.
of Norton. And I hope Ernie is getting this fantastic view in the background
Sunset,
because
yes.
Flag Rock is a great facility.
Yeah.
And it needs to be, I think, mentioned as well as the recreation area on Pine Knob. This
Yeah.
mountain has a whole lot to offer.
It does. This view, Ernie was educating me when I first walked up. He was telling me, this direction is this plot and so forth. And I don't know all of that. I love the mountain, but I appreciated that.
We're now talking also about lighting the flag on Flag Rock now. making the flagpole and the flag even larger,
Oh, that'd be
putting a
cool.
light there so we
That'd
can
be great.
see it. And that'd be a big addition.
And what kind of is neat about that story, and I know there's a couple different ones, but the one that it was handed down to me is that Carl Matuzak, which was an immigrant from overseas, wanted to show his love for this country, and he hiked. It was in the 30s, if I'm not mistaken, 1937. But he hiked to the top of Flag Rock, and he spent 3 days up there, and he erected the first flag on Flag Rock because he loved this country, and he wanted to show his love for this country. So it's just
You know,
That's a great
well, you know,
thing.
talking about going to the top of Flag Rock, as you remember, Pat, it was almost like a rite of passage for us. 13 years old, 12 years old, or whatever. You go through that crevice to get to the top of the rock, and that was
Very dangerous.
And going up wasn't.
Legendary.
bulletproof when you're younger, buddy.
Yes, legendary are the names of the folks who have fallen off Flag Rock. Don't forget that.
Wow.
You got
And live to tell about it.
yeah. Another one.
Ernie will know some of the people that fell off during his heyday.
Another one we didn't acknowledge and has been just a fantastic supporter of whatever we needed is Hagee Fallbush Funeral Home. Folks, I tell you what, Marty Hagee, Joe Fallbush, I mean, great community sponsors, community involved, community minded, and again, they're one of our great sponsors that we'd like to acknowledge.
Let's not forget Wise County
Kiwanis
Tourism.
Club.
Yes, Wise County
County
Tourism, Mike
Tourism.
Wampler. Thank you, buddy. I tell you what, the help that you give us as far as promotion and such is just greatly appreciated. And actually, we have three committee members that aren't here, and I'd like to give a shout out to Mark Leonard and his wife,
And
Linda, and then my wife, Tammy. She wasn't able to come, so we do have just a real close-knit, happy family that we have actually developed.
There's actually 11 of us officially on the committee.
I think
I
so.
think. And again, we're starting the Friends of the High Knob Music Festival so that we can expand the number of people who can put a shoulder to the wheel and help us push this thing on
And
up the hill.
one of
You
those,
can write that down too.
that's a good song.
Noah's thinking wonderful song.
We're always writing songs all the time. Let me jot this down here real quick.
and one of them showed up at our meeting last night, which makes us 12 now.
Well, she's going to be one of the friends of the festival.
Yeah, I hope she
And
can
who was
help
Debbie Hale.
organize that.
Yeah, glad to have her.
But I tell you, we're proud of our region, we're proud of our mountain, we're proud of our heritage, and I tell you, we just want to share it. And there's so many different things that are happening right now, so much focus that's being paid attention to the High Knob area, the region, from High Knob all the way to Pennington to Keokee. There's a major plan right now as far as to help develop and bring people in to enjoy what we've always enjoyed our whole life. So I mean, there is a major effort, major push. Norton has been awarded a $1.2 million destination center, and that's going to be at the gateway to the National Forest, which is going to be at the bottom of the mountain. So that's going to, have a lot as far
Bring some
as
attention.
absolutely attention, the history of the area, and just just a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things here. A lot of people do paintings of the area. I have friends that actually do landscapes and paintings of the mountains. My dad just passed a few months ago in '99. He'd done a bunch of water paintings of moonshine stills, and he's got a bunch of those. And there's so many things here in the mountains that people do.
Still life.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some bottles around somewhere too. Still like that. That's another song.
There you go.
But yeah, the diversity of the people's heritage and their culture it just comes through if you look at it. And there's so many people like the Indians and I went out west for a while, and then you can see so much just come through out there of their culture. And it's the same thing here if we look for it. But like I've heard, out of every adversity, there's a seed of opportunity. We got to look for that opportunity, and that's the way it is here. We got to look for things that jump out at us as a culture here in the mountains.
Seize it, grab it,
Right.
run with it.
So we want to encourage everyone to come June the 16th for the High Knob Music Festival, 12 o'clock in the day to 8:30 in the evening. We're going to have a wonderful time.
Bring your blankets and your chairs.
Bring your
And
blankets and chairs.
bring your
That's
coolers if you need to get your refreshments from your coolers, and we'll have food if we can as
And we'll
much
have
food as
cold
we can.
drinks for sale, too.
And we'll have cold drinks for sale, and water.
T-shirts.
And we
T-shirts.
appreciate, we would be remiss not to mention the National Forest Service working with us to allow us to use the facility for this festival. And they have been a good partner to us, and everything that we're doing is made possible by them allowing us to use that facility. We could do it somewhere else, but we love the mountain, and we want to keep people coming to the mountain, and especially up on top of the recreation area. And thank you to the National Forest Service.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, y'all come.
Thank you.
Everybody's gotta go.
Come see it.
I'll tell you, Leslie, let's not forget about the festival.
Yeah.
June 16th, noon to
When?
8, June 16th. High Knob Recreation Area.
I think I got something planned that day.
You better
Yeah,
cancel.
we got something planned for you that day.
Yes, you do. All day long you have something planned.
Yeah, it takes us 2 or 3 days to come down from that one, I'm telling you.
Oh, it
It's-
does. It's so
Again,
much
our
fun.
headliner, Whiskey Gentry from out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Folks, you will not hear a more angelic, beautiful voice that's going to echo on that mountain. So I tell
Yeah,
you.
and his wife sings too.
Yeah. Also, want to give a shout out to Dave Steller. Yeah. Dave Steller with
sorry.
Route 23.
Let them hear it.
But yeah, Dave Stellard had the Whiskey Gentry up at the Wise Inn back in February, and that's whenever we had the opportunity to hear them. And so Dave Stallard and all that he's doing as far as bringing music to this area, my hat's off to you, big guy. I tell you, the Route 23 listening room, we were able to go down a couple weeks ago and we heard Folk Soul Revival, and they did a fantastic job. So again, like what Buddy was talking about, I mean, there are musical opportunities in this area. They're getting more frequent in more areas. And as we develop our area as far as for tourism, I feel like there's going to be a lot more happenings. A lot of excitement in the area, folks, from Spearhead Trails to St. Paul to Norton to Big Stone to Appalachia at the Appalachia Cultural Arts Center. Pound, they're working on a trail, a river system trail over in Pound, and they're also looking at opening the old tunnel between Pound and Jenkins. So
I
they're,
watched Ernie's program.
yeah, that's
Yeah, I
and
did
that was-
too.
yeah.
It's good.
So again, folks, there's so many exciting things happening in the area. I mean, and if you think there isn't, get involved, and you'll see what all's happening. Get involved with us.
Hey, I get excited just listening to you, Chris.
One other thing
Swear.
about,
One of those dinners.
I do too.
one thing about the music venue, the old Appalachia School was opening up also a venue. You guys probably know about that.
Yes.
And I'm not sure what day of the week or the month it is, but I know that Up Yonder and If Birds Could Fly will
Oh,
be
yes.
playing down on the 14th of July. So they opened that up now, and it's going to be a great opportunity for musicians, I'm sure.
And we're talking about moving a program or two from the Appalachia Cultural Arts Center up there just to go to a different venue
Right.
and try to bring more attention to that venue, the Appalachia High School. The auditorium is great. It needs to be used. And so we've talked about maybe doing an open mic program up there, or just anything that we can do to bring attention to it.
And acoustics up there would be great.
Yes.
One town I didn't mention was Coburn, and Coburn's got a lot of things going on. Blaze Hardware. They are now the new spur for the Spearhead Trails. And it all sparked from over in St. Paul. And St. Paul's got it going on. And folks, if you haven't had an opportunity to take advantage of Spearhead Trails, there's 5 trail systems from everywhere from beautiful vistas in Lee County to the Elk in Buchanan County. And if you haven't had a chance to visit the new restaurant over in St. Paul, it's Milton's, and it's the Western Front Hotel. And I think that's kind of a unusual name, but do you know where the Western Front, as far as that name, came from?
I don't.
Well, back in World War II, evidently in that time frame, in that era, St. Paul was kind of rowdy, and they had a set of hotels, and not where the new motel is or hotel is located, but it was actually up towards the closer to the highway, or actually closer to the river. But they said that it was more dangerous in downtown St. Paul on a Friday night than it is on the Western Front during World War II. And that's where the Western Front Hotel got their name.
But it is.
No, I tell you, that's it's great as far as what St. Paul is doing. Heart of Appalachia, so many different Friends of Southwest Virginia. I mean, goodness gracious, folks. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just excited about trying to promote this area, and you're looking at a group right here that is just
And also
great.
talk about Dungannon, Mayor Horn said that July the 4th this year is their centennial. They're gonna have Blue Highway playing.
Oh,
And they're
wow.
building
Gosh.
stage.
Yeah.
July
And
4th?
July 4th, and Blue Highway's
going
playing. They
on.
have the building a new stage, or building some new, they're restructuring the town. It's really gonna look really nice, and they're putting some
great.
effort in that. Park, she's got effort going into putting a park right there at the river for the kids. She's got a lot of effort, a lot of work is going on, so.
Deborah's a good woman.
She's a good.
Hard-working.
She's a
Oh,
very hard-working
She
person.
is.
And she's got a vision,
Yeah.
you know, and we do too.
Yeah.
Like our vision.
Just like us.
Absolutely.
You know, I've read somewhere that a man without a vision shall perish. So I think
Very
that's
If you're
true.
not living on the edge, you're taking up too
If
much
you're not living
space.
on the edge, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. That's it.
Well, we're on the edge over here. It's straight down from where we're at. Oh boy, that's neat.
Yeah.
Really is.
Great. Well, thanks,
Thank
Ernie.
you.
Thank you very much.
See you at the
Come see
festival.
us.
Yay!
Folks, we want to see you on our mountain, June
On your
16th.
mountain.
On your mountain.
Your mountain, our mountain, let's share it.
Yes.
June 16th, starting at 12 o'clock. Hope to see you there.